Hi guys, my name is Kelly and I just wanted to introduce myself to the BookTube world, and I thought that my first video I would do my top 5 favorite books because that's not a pressure-filled situation at all. Okay, so for my first book I picked The Painted Veil. I had a friend tell me that I needed to read this book and buy it for me as a gift after I fell in love with the movie, which is really backwards, but that's how it happened, and I love it so much. It's such a great book. I think I like the movie more. That's a bad thing to say. I shouldn't say things like that. But it's really, really good. If you don't know, it's about a woman who gets married to a man she doesn't love, and not to spoil anything, but she has an affair, and then he finds out and brings her into a cholera epidemic with him. It's hard to read, it's rough, it's about a falling apart marriage, but it's so great, and I know that anybody who would read it would love it, so read it. That's my number 5. Of course on my list is Harry Potter. This is the 4th one. It's the only one that I had sitting out, which is the one I like the least, actually, which I think contradicts what most people like, but I love this series. I remember my mom giving me these books, well, the first one when it first came out, and trying to read it to me, and she couldn't read the names, and she still hates Harry Potter. She won't read it, but I remember thinking when I was little how everybody loved it, and all the older people loved it too, like adults, and I thought they were so weird. Why would they like Harry Potter? It was a kid's book. And now the older I get, I'm 24 now, I still love it. I'm like, oh, I'm one of those freaks, but you know, screw younger me. It's really good. I think it just gets better every year, every time I read it, and I know I've read them too many times. It's a little sad. I know at college I went for creative writing and everybody said that it was filling up and booming, and they blamed Harry Potter, that everybody loved Harry Potter and read it and wanted to be a writer. I don't know if that's true. I never thought about that for myself, but it wouldn't surprise me because everybody loves Harry Potter. If you don't, we're not friends. That's not true. I'll still be your friend. Okay, my third favorite book, I don't know if this counts, Winter Morning Walks by Ted Kooser. It's a book of poetry. So it's a book, it's still a book, it counts. I love poetry, and Ted Kooser is my absolute favorite poet. I found this book, I live in Nebraska now, and this book is about Ted Kooser walking around in Nebraska on winter mornings, like when it was still dark, because he was sick and he couldn't go out in the sunlight. And I found this book right before I moved to Nebraska. And I had never heard anything about Nebraska. My husband works in the military and they moved us out here, and I don't know, it was just really comforting, and some of my favorite poems are in here ever, so I'm thinking about rereading it. I need to reread it. I haven't read it since college, so I'm gonna give that one a shot. My second favorite book is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This one, I love this one, and I love Jane Eyre, and Jane Eyre should have been in here because that's my other favorite book, the Bronte sisters. They're so good, but this is just great. I think a lot of people have read this book or had to read it in high school. I know I did. And I'm so glad I was forced into reading this book because I just devoured it, and I love it. It's still one of my favorites. It's something I at least start trying to read every year, and I don't always get through it because I pick up a lot of books at one time and very inconsistent about that, but usually I do, and I love it so much. And then my very top favorite book ever, which everybody makes fun of me, I love Little House in the Prairie. I nerd out for this. I think I could be a Laura Ingalls Wilder scholar, and that's so weird, but it's true. I mean, this book is falling apart, and this is not my favorite in the whole series. The other ones are just like in shreds, like the spines are coming off. I read them all the time because they make me want to clean my house, and there's not much that will do that. They are the best. They're just childhood classics, and I know a lot of people have a problem with them, reading them as adults, because some of the themes in them, which I understand, but they're so good. You can't go wrong. I'm gonna read these all the time to my children. They're gonna hate Little House in the Prairie, but they're gonna get over it because it's awesome. It's so good. So that's my favorite book, weirdly enough. And that's it. anyway, those are my top 5 favorite books and just kind of a little introduction to my channel before I get started. I have a couple plans of what I want to do, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. You never know. So yeah, feel free to write a comment if you've read any of these books, or if you haven't, let me know what your top 5 favorite books are. See you soon!